Hi there, Kelly James, doing my discussion post for reading this lovely book, Best Practices, chapters 4 and 5, discussing the similarities of strategies that teachers could use between math and writing. Honestly, I didn't think I'd find many. I did. So I was pleased with that. And it makes sense to me now that I really think about it. So one of the first similarities between strategies a teacher could use for writing or math would be that you should be teaching many strategies, not just one strategy, and definitely not rote memorization without any reason. Also, the history of the standards, I noticed, has just in the last decade or so in both content areas has been, I won't call it turmoil, but a lot of change, a lot of transition, a lot of refining to come up with what they want or think is very important. Also on page 139, it says, when a topic matters, children work hard and invest time and effort in crafting their work. And I thought both chapters seemed to indicate that kids need a task or a purpose, or for instance, writing an audience, or a why. In math, that could look like an authentic context, like the chocolate algebra example that they gave at the beginning of chapter 5. And it makes it matter to the kids, which I thought was interesting. And you go, of course, but you don't think about it being similar between the two content areas, maybe. Also, the teachers should rely on research to help develop effective strategies. And obviously that means staying current, in my opinion. I shouldn't say obviously, but in my opinion, it means staying current because the prevailing ones are constantly changing. And I think both those chapters painted a pretty clear picture of that in both content areas with what has happened with all the standards changing. I liked the comparisons they gave between America and Japan and all of that. But page 145 says that writing is, in fact, one of the best tools for learning any material because it activates thinking. And the examples they gave in writing was first thoughts, KWL charts, admit slips and exit slips, stop and writes. And honestly, when they list it like that, you think, oh yes, I do that. That's part of my process. But writing works to develop all content areas. And the example that I liked for math was math journals. But I also use exit tickets. So, and lately I'm really getting into breaking down word problems and things like that, so they can write about their thought process and that. So I see it and I use it. I just don't think about it being related to all content areas. Being a similar strategy. The other thing I thought both chapters had going for them as far as strategies was that writing talked about write-alouds and math talked about meta-thinking. So in math, for me, that looks like number talks. Every day we have a number talk where we think about it. But they also talked about when you're when you're figuring things out in writing, you're demonstrating it and demonstrating your thinking and your thought process for children. I liked that. Also, I noticed that the way they talked about the lesson cycles seemed like gradual release would be appropriate planning strategy at least. And then on page 144, when students hear one another's work in a positive setting, they're eager to try new topics and learn new strategies. And I thought that seemed to be common, that they were talking about safe learning environments to share, positive place to share and think aloud, and that being very effective strategy for students. I liked that both of them seemed to talk about that it was important not to have unconnected lessons or content, because if you have, for instance, unconnected grammar, they're not applying it. Are they really learning it? Or are they memorizing it? Which happens a lot, unconnected grammar. I think that will happen less to us in my district because we're adopting reading and writing curriculums that work together better, and also a grammar and spelling that works with those as well. So it'll help make it more effective for the kids. And also some other things. We're using Lucy Calkins as it happens. And then in math, having unconnected math and not having authentic learning means that kids, it might affect their coherence, is what the book said, coherence. So I thought that was interesting. Anyway, it was a good lesson. I liked it.